Authorities, Southern California Logistics Rail Authority, Southern California Logistics Airport Authority, successor agency to the Victorville Redevelopment Agency, the Victorville Joint Powers Financing Authority, the Victorville Water District, and the City of Housing as a successor. May we have roll call, please? Mr. Cox?
Here.
Ms. Gomez? Good afternoon. Mr. Kennedy?
Here.
Mr. Negrete?
Here.
Mayor Garcia? Here. May we have declaration of closed session items by our city attorney?
Thank you, Mayor Garcia.
Will come out again to the chambers at 6 o'clock. If you want to participate in the council meeting, you can come at 6 o'clock today. There's still enough time, so you can come out over there and show up if you want to address the council. Thank you very much. This is it for the first close meeting of the council. And as I told you, we are going to have another meeting at 6 o'clock today. Ya se fueron los concejales a deliberar en una reunión a puerta cerrada. Este es el meeting de las 5 de la tarde. Los concejales van a salir aquí al salón de conferencias donde se reúnen los concejales a las 6 de la tarde. A las 6 de la tarde es una reunión pública donde ya todos pueden participar. Si quieres estar aquí presente y participar, todavía hay tiempo para que vengan a las 6 de la tarde y puedan participar en la reunión.
Hello.
Hi. Okay, Vero Cárdenas, we are going to be waiting for you. I want to say hi in person to you. Quiero saludarte en persona, mi estimada amiga Vero Cárdenas. Aquí te esperamos en el ayuntamiento de la ciudad de Victorville. Hasta luego, amigos. I'll see you at 6 o'clock. Thank you. ¿Cómo? No te digo nada. Oigo que estás hablando, pero no te entiendo. ¿Eh? Sí. Mientras que no digas nada criminal, estamos ok. Ya no le pongo atención. Ahí está, pobre. ¿Eh? Le digo que estuvo hablando con María hasta las 12 en el Facebook. María Ruiz Arroyo. ¿Quién sabe? Los magueyes. sueñito. Estaba soñando puras pesadillas. ¿Cómo? No, tan derechita. ¿Qué cosa? La señora está derechita. ¿Cuál señora? ¿Cómo? Pues si se puede. Ah, pues párate. Vamos a caminar porque nos van a doler los huesos. Ya me van a doler los huesitos. Y no hemos comenzado. Borrachita de tequila, jajaja. Vaya.
Okay, we got to put and roll. We got to put and roll.
Yeah.
See that page? Yeah. You say this C. So which one do you want? Which of these two do you want? No, seat. Okay.
For the one in the middle.
Whatever you want.
I'll take
Just
the one in the middle.
why don't we know? Just like that for this thing. Just gotta figure something out.
Hmm?
Okay. Today is the 18th. Get some more signs. Use this. I wanted you to get them, so for everybody. How many did you get? Okay, we'll go using that.
Yeah. Oigo voces. ¿Quién sabe?
are the storm.
Hi, Roll. How are you? Hi, Joe.
Hey, I want you to read this.
All right.
Okay. What?
Oh,
Oh.
I don't want you to get in trouble if I have to go too close to the lights.
Yeah, you gotta read this and stuff. Yeah, come sit down. This is hilarious.
Oh, so we can put our little cameras there. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. This is from her, the city attorney.
I think it's recording right now if it started, and that's all.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, let's go over here.
Yeah, that way you don't have to like get in trouble or anything. Yeah.
Hi, how are you? How are you?
Very good today.
Oh, yeah.
Clean up for us?
I have, here. This, the date.
No, don't turn the lights yet. We should go back to that.
Oh, you can't stand it? Well, that's okay, and that's what it's here for. But however, if you do that, and then if Gloria Garcia doesn't like it, she calls code enforcement.
I got the agenda. You got a copy of the agenda?
And she is a really bad person.
Okay, good.
And she's saying she doesn't like the signs.
Luther, do you have a copy of the agenda?
I do, but yeah.
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah.
Yes, I think
Yeah,
it's today's
don't worry
agenda.
about it. So,
Because it doesn't come
it's like, fifth grade.
Hi.
Somebody from his addresses. Somebody from his address. Oh, sure. Okay.
Hey, how you doing?
On the front.
Okay.
Helen, how are you?
Fine, and you?
Oh, pretty good.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, they come
Your
early.
place, okay.
They come early, that's why.
ella sabe que si by email. She sent it to by email.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Just wanted to let you know, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, it's
That's fine, that's fine.
That's what I was thinking. Somebody forgets to just no, it's my husband. I said, okay, good.
See if I can do that right.
Sí. Es bien, que se de 11. Vamos a saludar a Padre.
Hi,
Padre.
I'm good, thanks.
What are you doing?
You are from San Luis.
Going to,
No, nice to see you.
Yeah.
You are next to each other.
Yeah, we
I
know
know, I
each
know
other.
her from church,
Yeah,
yeah.
Oh,
guys,
really?
it's
Yeah,
just-
believe it or not, I go
No
to
wonder.
church. And,
No wonder. Yeah.
Yeah, and I tell the truth, you know.
We go to the same church.
Yeah.
So that's something. What you?
It's the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. It's LDS.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's Mormon. Oh,
Yes,
yeah.
Mormon,
Yeah.
yes.
Mormon. And later,
Latter-day
takes
Saints.
saints. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
We don't say Mormon anymore. They don't want for us to use the word Mormon. Now we need to say the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
Yeah, I can care less, I just like go and it's just like, be good,
That's good.
you know.
Okay.
Let me see here. That was you I put on Facebook, friends,
Yeah.
you and your wife. So you know why I'm here.
Yes, I know.
Yeah, I think you were here. You were here today. And look at this, I want you to read this. Read that. Because you were here, you were standing right behind me.
This is a pretty nice, serious accusation.
Yeah, but you were standing right behind me. Hey.
¿Vas a venir con más gente? ¿Crees que vas a estar aquí?
Oh, I'm sure.
Sí, porque si se pone alguien aquí con esa comida, no levantan el papel y no lo tuvieran. No me puedo quedar con ese papel.
So she's turning the things around. Whatever she does.
Did you get over to the
Yeah, she's okay. He's okay. He's okay. Is your husband sick? Yeah. Your boyfriend is okay?
I thought I was.
Good. You're calming your mind down?
Yeah. Why are we gonna get married?
Keep that, politics. Keep that.
Just the secret,
I'm not responsible. I'm not responsible for what you're talking about.
we secretly love each other. Now, so he lets me, I'm not gonna be here tomorrow, I'll be, I'm gonna go to LA for there.
So you
He's
have
coming
to.
here.
Remember she didn't show up for what time? So no one can. Okay.
Here, over here.
Lord, we thank you for this city council and their aspirations to be involved in the useful work and responsibilities they have undertaken in governing our city. Last week we honoured the victims of 9/11, a day of infamy in our generation. We ask our Lord to keep this council ever vigilant on the sacrifice of so many and to honour the victims of 9/11 with humility and courage, as they honoured us with true humility and found their courage in the love they had for our nation, their families, and their fellow men. Keeping in mind what will please you first in honour of the sacrifice of so many, help our council find the ability to work together in harmony and not to turn honest disagreement into their own private agenda. Give this council peace in their lives and help them find joy in the tasks set before them. Instill a need for justice and honesty, always remembering to respect the positions they hold and the constituents they represent. We thank you for the freedom to embrace you here in this public forum and to ask for your blessings upon us all. Amen.
Amen.
Please join me in the pledge of allegiance. Place your right hand over your heart. Ready to begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This evening, we do not have any proclamations. We do have a presentation. Recent actions to combat illegal dumping, including drive the public awareness campaign. And that will be presented,
Madam Mayor, if I might, just to tee things up, and we've got 3 staff members that will pitch the presentation. But I think most importantly, this was our opportunity as staff to come back to you with information that you previously asked for relating to some of our public awareness efforts relating to solid waste programs, new Dump It Right program. That's what we're calling it, is Dump It Right Victorville. And when we went through the solid waste study process, at that time, as we were analyzing the numbers and the cost of service, we were also dealing with a lot of citizen complaints about illegal dumping throughout the community. And I'm not 100% convinced that it's totally resolved or eradicated, but it was certainly one of the things that was believed by us back then was that there should be very little reason to dump illegally, especially considering the number of services that we have, particularly at our satellite recycling center and hazmat centers, to where for no cost, that trash can be discharged. So there's really no reason, or there was no reason in our minds why that should be occurring. And certainly with that philosophy in mind, there was a belief that continued public awareness, increased outreach to the community to just better make them aware of the programs available. So Sue Jones, our public information officer, led the effort in developing the campaign, which is hashtag Dump It Right Victorville. We've actually done some short video clips to serve as promotional that hit external audiences through social outreach, including Facebook, but then also print and media buys. So with that, staff, and I think Sue is probably going to be the start of the presentation. She wanted to, with the team, talk about the campaign so you're aware of it and not surprised by that when you see it out in the community.
Hey Keith, just a question. As you know, this weekend I sent you a text about an illegal dump that I had observed, and the crew got out and cleaned it up on Monday. My question is it important for people in the community when they see illegal dumps to call in and report them?
It absolutely is, and that's one of the things that we're really trying to transition towards is embracing the complaint. In fact, the rollout of our new website was designed designed with that in mind, embrace the complaints. We've got some portals on there where even if you don't know where to send the complaint, we've made it easier for you to just, we've got some drop-down menus to make it easier so that in the background we can get the complaint to the right location. But whether it's online, using the website, or it's a phone call or a text message, as I'm receiving them, I'm giving them the right staff member right away. In that particular case, it came in on a Sunday, so we didn't have a crew on Sunday, but first thing we were doing, work order on Monday morning, we were out there. So, and that's being made in this particular case, we're able to do that a lot easier now that we have the solid waste program properly being funded with the new rate strategy study. So today was an opportunity to kind of share with you some of the immediate results and benefits that we're getting.
Thank you. Good evening, Madam Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, council members. As Mr. Metzler indicated, we're here to present, provide you some information on our new efforts. I'll start with the enforcement efforts. As Mr. Metzler indicated, we often get a lot of complaints, a lot of leads, a lot of information pertaining to illegal dump sites that have been there for a bit, or illegal dumpers, people that are willing to report illicit activity. Clearly, our dumping problems impact our desert areas, our commercial areas, our residential areas, impacting the quality of life issues. And the impacts are clear. The residential communities are impacted again by the growing amount of trash and impacting property values perhaps as well. Local businesses obviously are impacted by the added amount of operation constraints and perhaps the impacts to the consumers, and of course the impacts to the city's appeal in general. We got a presentation, and so I'll go through the enforcement efforts that we've highlighted. Our primary efforts, of course, was to immediately reduce trash and blight through enforcement efforts, through quickly responding to complaints, through quickly investigating the site and quickly getting it to our cleanup team. We've increased the enforcement presence and patrols. As you're aware, the Code Enforcement Division also now works 7 days a week. On Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays, we've extended our hours from 10:30 to 8:30 to primarily make our presence a lot more visible during peak hours in the city. And of course, we've also increased our, as Mr. Metzler indicated, the encouragement of residents to report and participate, making that information much easier to transfer from the resident to us, and much quicker to transfer from us to our abatement cleaning team. Just for some brief statistics on the trash-related cases in the last 12 months, we've had approximately 708 actionable cases. And just in the last 75 days, which is where most of our efforts recently have grown and emphasized and improved, we've had about 133 cases just in that. Sorry. So notable process changes as far as code enforcement, again, is the increased code enforcement coverage, the increased participation with specialized patrols from our police department to address the growing dump piles in our desert, the increased collaboration with our cleanup team in developing improved procedural and work orders processes, which Janelle will expand on, and of course adding the convenience of public reporting. That results into more efficient and effective trash removal, faster investigation, and increased reports again from our committee members. And Janelle Davidson will provide some more information on our cleanup and abatement programs.
Thank you. Good evening. Just as a recap, on the February report, we provided information on a number of existing programs and events that the city has offered for quite some time, and those are geared toward the prevention and the abatement of illegal dumping. Flyers were provided to the City Council. Those are also available at our customer service lobby and the community services counter, as well as the city's website. Those include programs such as free dump days, neighborhood cleanups, citywide community cleanup events, and more importantly, bulky item pickup that can be scheduled, as well as free drop-off sites. So we have 3 drop-off sites throughout the city. The most conveniently located is our recycling drop-off center that is located on Anacapa Road. You can turn in right off of Amargosa and drive through. There's somebody there to help you unload any items you bring. And you can exit right onto Palmdale Road. It's nice and easy. That is open 6 days a week. We also have our materials recovery center that's out near the landfill off of Stoddard Wells Road. That's open 5 days a week. And we have our household hazardous waste collection center that is open 2 days a week. That's off of Love's Lane behind the fairgrounds. We do have a couple of updates to our programs. The first being that the illegal dump abatement crews were transferred to community services in July. That was really aimed at the fact that not all cleanup activities are geared toward enforcement cases. There is citywide illegal dumping that community services has staff out in the field who can help address those problems very efficiently. However, we've continued to coordinate closely with code enforcement. As Mr. Duran mentioned, currently we have a process in place whereby code enforcement officers can send us information related to code enforcement cases that require assistance from these crews. And just to give you a picture of activity outside of enforcement, the table provided on this slide shows that we are approaching our tonnage collected for 2017. And we're only in the month of August, so we're on track there. We've already surpassed the number of tires collected from 2017. While these figures are separate from code enforcement, again, just through the month of August, I know we had more than 123 tons of waste collected on enforcement activity as well. Also, back in April, we expanded the services available at our recycling drop-off center. We added bulky item pickup. So now residents can go to our recycling drop-off center and take up to 5 items and drop those without even having to schedule it. Since April, we've collected nearly 1,700 items, weighing almost 49 tons. And it's increased the number of visitors to our center by nearly double our average monthly visitors from last year. So we have a number of programs. We're always trying to make improvements, and as part of those improvements, we worked with our public information officer, Sue Jones, who I will hand things over to tell you about our new campaign.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I'm excited to share some information with you about our new public awareness campaign. The goals for the campaign were pretty simple: create awareness for the city's disposal services, drive people to the city's new website to learn about these services, and then ultimately change behavior by offering alternatives to illegal dumping. We wanted to, when our committee got together, it was made up of folks from our community services, our code enforcement, and myself. We wanted to make sure that this effort was very targeted for greatest impact. And we talked about how could we make the greatest impact. And we decided to focus on what we ultimately called the lone dumper, or the people that individually just go out and like to throw things in the desert for whatever reason. We also wanted to increase awareness for our bulky item pickup. It's a service that's available free for any single family residence that has curbside trash service. And we think it's a service that maybe not enough people knew about and could take advantage of, so that was another target. And the third target was what we ultimately deemed the irresponsible junk haulers. This is a buyer beware message basically to our public. We wanted the community to understand that there are some irresponsible junk haulers out there. Sadly, these are people that are hired. People think that they're going to do the right thing, and in the end, throw the items out in the desert. So that was our third target, was the irresponsible junk haulers. We branded our campaign #DumpItRightVV. The primary messages are dumping trash in the desert is not only illegal, it's just plain wrong. And with all of the city's free services, the free disposal services we have, it's just too easy to dispose of your unwanted items the right way. And what we decided to have everything branded is Keep Victorville Clean and Dump It Right VV. And we drove people to our website where they can learn more at victorvilleca.gov/dumpitrightVV. We decided to do a month-long campaign. It started in September. It'll trickle over into October. In the initial rollout, we combined a lot of different communication vehicles, radio, digital, social, bus shelter advertising, etc. We tried to be very targeted with the messaging into those communication vehicles. We used a new technology. It's a digital technology called geofencing. I'll just call that out because it's an experiment for me. And basically, if anyone travels into within a couple mile area of 5 very known dump sites in our area, a push of a digital ad will be pushed onto their smartphone. And it'll basically be like you see here, don't be this guy, don't dump in the, don't dump in the desert, dump it the right way with our contact information. Now, I wanted to go into just showing you some of the promotions that we put together. This is a sample digital ad. This one is specifically targeting the messaging about don't hire irresponsible junk haulers. And this is used as banner ads on websites. We're using it on social media, etc. And we're also going to put some of these into posters. And this is a sample video that we put together. This is specifically about our bulky item pickup, and I'll play this for you now. This is a sample, what we called an animated short. This one also is focused on just beneficial services. Let's show this one. One thing I should say too is these are pretty quick, but when they're displayed on social media, they'll just repeat. So if you don't catch the phone number, you'll see it again. Okay. And this is, I'm going to play for you a sample radio ad that we produced that it's now playing on radio.
Why are we stopping?
Oh, I have some tires I need to get rid of.
Please tell me you aren't planning to dump them right here in the desert.
Well, what's wrong with that?
It's illegal and it's just plain wrong to throw trash in the desert.
Yeah, but what should I do with these tires?
Take them to Victorville's Recycling Drop-Off Center. It's free.
It's free? I didn't realize that.
Yep, it's just too easy to dump it, right? If you go to the City of Victorville website, you can find out how to dispose of all kinds of trash like mattresses, old furniture, e-waste, and more.
Visit victorvilleca.gov/dumpitrightVV. Keep Victorville clean and dump it right.
This is a sample bus shelter ad. We actually purchased 6 bus shelters throughout the city, and we did one for each of the target areas that I told you about. Well, times 2. One in English, one in Spanish for each. And this is just in summation, we wanted to share with you some of the next steps and things that we're still have in the works and that you'll be seeing implemented shortly. In the secondary rollout for the public awareness campaign, we're going to be putting posters in our home improvement stores. Mr. Duran went to each of the Home Depots and Lowe's and spoke with them, and they were willing to let us put some posters in their storefronts. And then the Stop Illegal Dumping picture that you see there, that's going to be turned into stickers that are going to be put on city vehicles. So when city vehicles are driving throughout the city, they'll continue to promote the Dump It Right VV campaign. And then we're also going to be able to brand the Dump It Right VV at our community events, such as Fall Festival and other community outreach efforts.
We also have 2 operational changes budgeted as part of the current fiscal year. That includes the addition of a senior maintenance worker who will serve as the lead for our 2 existing illegal dump abatement crews, and also as the primary operator for the grapple truck that we will be purchasing to handle more efficient loading of large items or larger dump sites.
And lastly, the pilot project for electronic reporting and work orders. It's intended to expedite the cleanup. It's intended to reduce the repeat of dumping. Through expedited cleanups, we've seen that the quicker we get there and abate the problem, the less frequency there will be to repeat that, especially for those people looking for an opportunity. So we'll keep working on that.
Thank you, that was excellent. Great information. Now we will continue on. Receipt.
I have one question.
Yes, go ahead.
The flyers, which are going to go to water bills. So that everyone, I have no excuse for not seeing them.
Yeah, actually, environmental programs did put those in as a bill insert in the water bills this month, and then we'll also have them on display in City Hall. And just so everyone here knows, I was a little late to the meeting. I was rushing, but there are some out there on the display when you come in, where you pick up a public comment card. I put a stack of those flyers there as well.
Well, thank you. Very good. Any other questions? Comments? This evening we can, let's see, we do not have any revisions to the agenda this evening. We do not have any appeal hearings. So we will be moving on to public hearings. And item B1, a public hearing to hear arguments for and against granting a certificate of public convenience and necessity to Green Medical Transportation, Inc. for a non-emergency medical transportation business. Madam Clerk, read the recommendation.
That the City Council adopt resolution number 18-079 at the close of the public hearing.
Thank you. Are there any questions of staff by council members?
Question, is this a new company? Or expansion of an existing company?
Madam Mayor, members of the council, it's my understanding that this is a new individual serving in the capacity of this business. And accordingly, once this item, now that we've received the application and proof of insurance, this item is considered for the council and then would actually apply for a business license. So I believe that it's a new business.
At this time, I open the public hearing. I do not have any speaker cards, so I close the public hearing. May I have a motion?
I move approval of this item and granting the certificate of public convenience necessity to Green Medical Transportation.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Cox, seconded by Mr. Kennedy. Any further questions or comments? All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries with Mr. Negrete being absent.
Now we move on to consent calendar. Consent calendar item C1 through C10 can be approved with one motion unless there is an item that needs to be pulled for discussion.
Madam Mayor, I'd like to pull item C2.
C2. Anyone else?
Yeah, I'd like to pull C2, C7, C8, and C10.
I'm sorry, which one?
C2, C?
C2, C7, C8, and C10.
I already asked about C2.
No, I thought you said C3, so I'll correct that it's C3 then.
Madam Mayor, move the balance of the consent calendar.
Motion by Mr. Negretti, seconded by Mr. Kennedy. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
Madam Mayor, Keith, question for you on C2. I thought I was fairly familiar with BMO's operations. What is the Boulder Canyon project? The results seem to say it is a loss, an operational loss. Are you the right guy for this question?
Yeah, for this particular item, well, to answer the first part of the question, the Boulder Canyon project is Hoover Dam, and recently, probably within the last year, we entered into a contract to be a part of the supply of energy. We were entitled through Congressional Act as a publicly owned utility to participate in the generation of power. We get a very small amount of power, and of course that gets transferred into the grid, and then we have a relationship with the city of Corona to actually schedule the delivery. So in fact, to answer the question, in this particular quarter, it operated a loss. The fourth quarter, I believe it is, operated cash positive. Our business model over the course of 4 quarters or 1 year actually projects cash positive. So it's my belief that in that particular quarter, January through March, the market worked against us in terms of basically the sale of those electrons on the grid. We actually don't take delivery of the electrons, we're entitled to them, and market prices work in a direction different than what we actually purchase them for.
It's a tiny amount of money compared to what we do in Venus. Are we bringing electricity from that project?
From that project into the grid, and then it gets, we're responsible for making the initial purchase, and then it gets resold as we don't accept the delivery of those.
Do we ever expect it to be a significant amount?
It's not going to be a significant amount, and it's not going to be a significant net revenue, but we do project net revenue out of that small business model.
Thank you.
My comment for that on C2 was to please contextualize the results with a detailed messaging for the benefit of the public.
So for the benefit of the public, to summarize these 2 operating reports, we really put these items on the agenda as informational as to the sale and demand of electricity and also natural gas at both the Foxborough Industrial Park and Southern California Logistics Airport, which are the 2 locations where we provide those utility services. So in the case of both reports, when it comes to usage, it measures the sale of megawatt hours, and very basically in Q3 and in Q4, it looked like there was a slight year-over-year increase. It also shows a individual and collective demand at both interconnects for those 2 locations.
Thank you. For item C3, my comments and questions are as follows. I disagree with the granting any extension of purchasing power to any city manager who participates in using his discretion to using public funds in imprudent manners and uses the discretion of any personal ideologies to further any partisan activities. I have a request. I'm requesting that council, which is the body here, to receive quarterly reports in writing to demonstrate how the city manager has exercised the stewardship of the dollars of the public that has been on an ongoing agenda. That's what I'm seeking. And how will staff be proceeding with this request? So I'm waiting for a response because this is usually what I get.
This is
that a question of me or the council? Because I think you're asking for direction from the council as to whether or not you're going to get quarterly reports.
Well,
My belief is that through the commercial demand reports that we provide, you certainly get a listing of all of the expenditures made. If there is something more that we're not providing to the council, certainly the council can direct staff and we can try to provide perhaps what you're looking for. But maybe speaking to this item, more specifically, this item is dealing with the second reading of an ordinance that was discussed at the last council meeting, which does alter the purchasing authority for the city manager and in very general circumstances changes the purchasing authority for general services from $25,000 to $50,000. But what wasn't covered last time that may be helpful to know for the benefit of the public is even while it's increasing the purchasing authority for general purchases, there are a number of areas where we actually decreased and actually reduced the purchasing authority, particularly on change orders involving public works construction projects. So with that being said, unless there's a specific direction that the council is seeking different from this item was really just presented for second reading and adoption of the ordinance.
so my request was for city staff to provide certain documentations, but since you're throwing it back to the council, I'm going to get a motion publicly so that if we can receive these individual documents to show a pattern of how our city manager's discretion is being used, that's going to be a motion since staff denied to approve of that. So it's being made public right now, so I need a second if it's going to go anywhere else.
Is there a second? There being no second, the motion dies.
So the second thing is that the city manager uses discretionary powers to pay for attorney recall efforts since the city clerk is still under mentorship in regards to many official duties as the city clerk.
Just a little slower, because I do want to.
Oh, so did the city manager use his discretionary powers to pay for an attorney for the recall efforts since the city clerk is still under mentorship to many official duties as the city clerk? What is the full list of exceptions that the city manager cannot change orders or making any contract amendments? So this is calling out if it's under $50,000 that we're paying for a recall effort with public funds. I want to make sure that's placed on the record because I know that's what we've been doing and I don't want anything to go underneath or be pulled under the rug with anyone. That's why my questions are being asked in the manner that they're being asked today.
So to answer the question is, I understand it to be under the context of something done under the city manager's purchasing authority, directly answering the question of whether or not we've retained a firm to support the recall effort. The answer is no. I think what you believe is related to the recall effort that is not related to the recall effort is having retained professional advisory services for the elections process to help navigate not only the election, but the upcoming recall so that we can administer properly in accordance with law, and so that we don't make any errors as we move forward in trying to facilitate the election process.
Okay, so again, I'll repeat in 9 words since it looks like there's a consensus of what we just heard and I understood. So my question was, did the city manager use his discretionary power to pay for attorney recall efforts since the city clerk is still under mentorship in regards to many official duties as the city clerk? So that just basically answered my question. So I appreciate the fact that you were honest and genuine about this because this has been a runaround, me asking for records.
The answer to your specific question is no.
So then you didn't hire anyone for advisory, time is up, anything, right?
That's not what you just asked.
That's what I did ask. Time is up, I did ask, and it's for the record, thank you.
we
So
ready to
for
vote on that?
C7, for C7, does the general public receive the detailed versions of the commercial demand schedules and the approved payroll demand schedules, yes or no?
Say your question again, I'm sorry.
Yes. Is the general public receiving the detailed version of the commercial demand schedules and the approved payroll demand schedules?
I would say that they're receiving it to the extent that they're downloading the same document that all council members are downloading in the format that's provided here in the agenda. If the council so desires to provide a different format or additional information, direct us to do so, and we'll be glad to do it.
I'd like to put it on record that the entire council gets a very vague, and I'm the only one that gets a detailed version, and I just wanted to make sure that that was on the record. Thank you. For C8, would you please review the public who sits on the grants review committee with approximate timelines that they've been sitting? That's with the CAPR or CAPR. Previous committee?
I believe the question is which council members currently sit on the grants committee and how long their tenure has been on that committee. Do I understand your question correctly?
Did.
The Mayor Garcia and Councilmember Negretti sat on the current committee, and I'm going off of memory, but I have provided this to you in an email and written format. I believe they sat on it for 3 to 4 years.
Thank you. And then, please, for the benefit of the public, would you be able to articulate how the CAPR is another way to civically engage the community with their opinions and concerns, along with any clearinghouse dates where the public has time to comment on issues? And does staff have any knowledge of CDBG-DR?
To answer the first part of the question, to detail to the public how the CAPR process, the report that is on the agenda tonight, allows them to participate in the CDBG process. The CAPR is the end of the year reporting for CDBG and home activities. The document has been circulated for the required time period. It's noticed on the internet, and of course it's on the agenda now. So the public has an opportunity to make any comments about the report, as well as throughout the whole CDBG annual cycle. Starting in November, there's a series of workshops, surveys, stakeholder meetings that start the public's participation in the annual CDBG process. Multiple times throughout the year, the CDBG items come before the council in a public forum, so there are many opportunities, and this is another opportunity for the public to see how the federal grants that are awarded to the city for primarily to serve low to moderate income persons are being used in the city of Victorville. I'm sorry, the second part of your question?
No, you cleared it. It was just, CDBG-DR. So to staff, I'm requesting a meeting with Scott Webb to inquire about the item before the next agenda item. That's on the general meeting. Please respond to how you will be proceeding with this request. Unfortunately, because I've been denied to be able to inquire with staff and department heads by anything that I would like to inquire with the discretion of the city manager against his desire to allow me to ask questions, regardless of municipal code, I've been unable to ask questions. So I'm asking publicly if I'm able to meet with Scott Webb in terms of this agenda item. How will staff be proceeding with this request?
Unless directed differently by the majority of the city council, I've made a direction, and staff is following that direction, that all of your communications largely to you, having contributed to what's believed to be a hostile work environment by threatening employees, I've chosen to try to protect the employees by limiting your interactions with them. So accordingly, I will deny the request and will continue to deny the request. And unless directed differently from the council, that's how we will proceed.
Okay, so for the record, I'd like to state that as a representative for the city of Victorville, I am being denied direct access of inquiry based on the municipal code, based on your discretion. discretion, Mr. Metzler, to be able to make adequate decisions on the city to vote, and I'm not gonna be rubber stamping any of this information, so without me having to have a lot of the information that I've inquired in the past and have done it publicly, I'm going to say that you are violating the municipal code and using your discretion is doing that. I just like to keep that for the record, so I can't vote for a lot of items unless I have certain questions, and this one is one in particular. Other ones, I don't have too many questions, but thank you.
Madam Mayor, members of the council, I do believe I have an obligation to do my best to protect staff of your organization. As it relates to the suggestion by Ms. Gomez that she's been denied information, that is a lie. I've responded to all of the emails that are sent to me. I provide as much information, and I try to provide the information as timely as possible. The voluminous nature of them has gotten to the point where I may respond a little bit more slowly than when I first took over this role, but I do make it a point to respond to every communication that is received from Ms. Gomez.
Thank you, Mr. Nestor. All this is in writing and email format. Anybody is welcome to request through the Public Information Act our information. So thank you for calling me a liar, but it's all in writing, so I'm gonna have to revert and say that's not the case. It's in writing, so I have that. That's why I'm coming in public now, and no need to hide it anymore. Thank you. No further questions on C8. For C10, which is the last one, what is the history of the flooding for this specific project? And are there any other areas of the city that we are aware of, and how have we addressed those areas?
I believe I can answer that question. There has been some flooding at the intersection of Silica and Industrial in the past. It's actually overflowed onto our lead track that feed into the industrial sites. So this project was to mitigate that flooding issue and to prevent any maintenance problems we would have in the future. As far as other flooding in the city, I cannot answer that in detail. We'd have to provide that information at a later time. There have been, over the years, flooding in various locations throughout the city, and we have addressed some of those, but it's limited to our resources and our funding.
Thank you. I'm going to publicly state on the record that in order for me to be able to represent the city of Victorville residents and to be able to cast my votes, being denied the information that I have been denied so far, I'm not going to be able to make various decisions that concern any natural or emergency disasters. So I'd like to make sure that's on the record, and I will continue to ask for a one-on-one with access of the city manager to sit in so that I can have my questions answered in regards to flooding and any information that you were not able to provide at this moment. Mr. Gaylord, I appreciate it. Thank you so much for that.
Thank you.
Mayor, no further comments or questions, move approval of those.
Second.
Whatever items were left out of the original approval. Second.
Motion by Mr. Cox, seconded by Mr. Kennedy.
For the record, I think we should name them. There's 2, 3, 7.
C2, C3, C7, C8, and C10. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed?
Okay, they're very distinct. Not all of them are no's for me. So I don't know if you want to break it down, but not all of them are the same one for me as they are for the rest of the council.
You can
So
let me know which ones are no, and I'll make that clear.
Item C8 is a no. Item C7 is yes. Item C10 is yes.
C3?
And item C3 is no.
And what's your vote on C2?
C2 is just a comment, yes.
So C3 and C8 are no's?
C3 and C8 are no's.
The motion by Mr. Cox, seconded by Mr. Kennedy. Motion carries unanimously with the exception of Councilmember Gomez voting no on items C3 and C8.
Now we move on to written communications. Item D1, establishing new wastewater treatment operations, accounts, and approving increased revenues and expenditures for the industrial wastewater treatment program. Madam Clerk, read the recommendation.
That the Board of Directors adopt resolution number VWD 18-011 to amend the fiscal year 2018-2019 budget, establishing new wastewater pretreatment operations, accounts, and approving increased revenues and expenditures of $26,274 for the industrial wastewater pretreatment program.
Thank you. Are there any questions by council members of staff? Yes, questions for item D1.
I move approval of the item.
Second.
So if I may ask my questions, are you going to proceed? Okay. So for item D1, for the benefit of the public, please provide any contextualization for the item with this specifically contextualized with BBWRA fees. The second question is, comment with question is, it worries me that an item that we have put across requires appropriations is not a public hearing, but instead just a written item. Are there any schedule of fees related to this item? I don't see them. And how did staff come about with the evidence to ask for an appropriations of the monies? And whose priorities are reflected in this recommendation? What is the line item budget outlays for the 2017-2018? And what was the incrementalism that is going to be taking place on this budgetary 2018-2019 budget year?
Madam Mayor, members of the council, this item is dealing particularly with budget appropriation, both revenues and expenditures, and relating to the city's industrial wastewater pretreatment ordinance, which was approved back in June of 2019. And effectively what's happening is because the adoption of the pretreatment ordinance occurred on that date, which ironically was the same date as the budget, it was inadvertently not included in the budget at that time. But as the ordinance was adopted for this program, the city is now able to collect revenues to offset the expenditures to help ensure compliance directly related to the city's Southern California Logistics Airport Industrial Wastewater Treatment Plant. So answering the question as to its relationship with the BBWRA, this does not have a relationship to BBWRA. It's more directly related to our own wastewater treatment plant and only the industrial wastewater users connected to that. As to the line items, I think the line items are answered more specifically on page 1 of the staff report. That's page 179 of your agenda, where it identifies revenue and expenditure accounts. And as to the public hearing part of it, that was actually conducted on June 19th and approved by this council, where there was an accompanying cost of service study related to that, and so the public hearing process has been satisfied. Whose priorities? I guess the best way to answer that is that these are the priorities of EPA. We're obligated to have pre-treatment program in place consistent with local ordinance, so we're just following the code and the law.
And so, and did you tell me what the percentage of incrementalism was between 2017-18 budget fiscal year and this year?
Incrementalism, I'm not,
Incrementalism is a concept where you look at your prior budget and then you look at your coming budget and you look at the increase of the appropriation. So I'm looking for a percentage.
So understanding that, sounds like it's just a year-over-year difference between years, and the fact that this was approved just this year in June of 2018. Last year, there was no revenues or expenditures generated because the program didn't exist, so this is year one to which you're generating revenues and expenditures. So using the term incrementalism, I would say 0.
I don't know if I can say 0 when it's $26,000, but thank you for that clarification. Lastly, it's my understanding that we're in current negotiation settlements with BBWRA that could potentially deal with anticipated litigation if we do not arbitrate to satisfaction of the city of Victorville. And that's how I wanted the contextualization to come across. That's what I've been seeing sitting in the BBWRA meetings and also looking at our IAWTP. Seems that we are incrementing taxpayer usage money to be able to sustain our IWWTP. Thank you.
What does this have to do with BBWA?
Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Nothing at all. Can we move on?
I do not have any speaker cards, therefore can I have a motion.
We do have a motion by Mr. Kennedy and seconded by Mr. Cox. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed?
Aye.
Motion carries with Ms. Gomez voting no.
Are there any other questions? Item D2, award of contract for the police station flooring replacement project. Madam Clerk, read the recommendation.
That the City Council award a contract to Carpet Club Incorporated in the amount of $79,000 or $79,852.81 for the police station flooring replacement project.
Thank you. Questions by council members of staff?
Yeah, I have a question in regards to this. Is this building a municipal building or is this building belonging to the county of San Bernardino?
it's a city facility.
Thank you. No further questions.
Madam Mayor, I have a quick comment. I'd like to thank city staff for working this issue. Throughout the city, we have various facilities that from time to time need renovating, and just unfortunately wear and tear on our facilities is something that we just can't get away from. But this brings into focus something that's very important. Obviously, when you have some of the great public safety folks that we have serving this community, any of these things that we can do to improve the facilities for our great professionals is something that I would always encourage on an annual basis. And even if it's small improvements, here we're talking about flooring, but there's other opportunities for improvements elsewhere. And certainly I'd be available to help volunteer in the future for some of these projects that I know that we have a lot of great talent out there. We can pull together and make some real improvements. So anyway, great job, and I hope this is just the beginning of more projects like this. Thanks.
Thank you. I do have one speaker card. Alejandra?
Good evening, Mayor, City Council. Well, I have a question and a comment. Well, how big is the police department? 79, how can you guys give me the square footage and how much are we gonna pay for a square footage? Cause wow, $80,000 for changing the flooring for the police department? That seems really, really expensive. And don't take me wrong, I do appreciate it. They do a wonderful job, and we need them. But, so it's like changing the floor for how many houses? The price value of the regular house in Victorville is what, 22,000 to 350,000, and so you need 80,000 to change the floor. I think that price is very, very expensive, and I want to know where can I see the footage of the police department, and also I would like to know if you guys get another offers from other companies to compare, because we're all gonna pay $80,000 for the floor. Come on. So at least I think that you guys should have 2, 3, 4 beds, and please tell me if you wanna later tell me the square footage and how much exactly we're gonna pay for square footage. Thank you.
Madam Mayor, it's worth mentioning, I think that we did get 3 bids, as we always do, for a project of this size. The flooring in a police department isn't like the flooring in our home. When you consider all the things that a police department has to go through, handling folks, volume of activity. But I just replaced floors in the house, and believe me, this doesn't strike me as a high price.
The staff just read the second paragraph, page 2, so, I will.
Yeah.
Project scope consists of installing approximately 8,000 square feet of rigid floor waterproof flooring in high traffic areas at the station. These areas include runway area, hallways, briefing room, on and on and on, and locker rooms, and so on and so on and so on. Additionally, approximately 2,750 square foot of flooring in the gaming unit, detective unit, conference room, so on. Carpet tiles are similar to those installed in City Hall, which can be changed individually. If something happens to them, or replacement covering of the project will include a new 4-inch coat basement. If we did carpet clubbing and a flooring and water carpet in the house, all the staff report, all the council have that information. You can copy of it if you'd like.
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
Yes, I have another question. So, we had public comment. I would like staff to either make an appointment or approach her to be able to give her what her questions are. She asked what was the square footage. We don't have that in our council reports. She asked for probably the footage, or maybe, I don't know, that you guys are doing a walkthrough. I mean, this is public funds. And what goes into the flooring costs for $85,000. I know Mr. Cox was doing a couple of them. But how much of the facilities operation budget do we have, and is that a specific budget that we're taking from, or can we do GF, which is the general fund, or any other enterprise types of funds, and why choose this one versus any other? Regardless, if someone could make sure that our public, when they ask questions, get either a card or approach so they don't feel like they're ignored, regardless of who it may be. I think that's something that would be standard practice for us, so that you guys don't feel ignored.
I think all that information's in the staff report. All you gotta do is read it.
It's not.
It's there.
Madam Mayor,
Call for the question.
move approval of item D2.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Negretti, seconded by Mr. Kennedy. Any further questions or comments?
Yeah, I have a further comment. For those of you that don't know our reports, what you can do is give Heidi your email, and she will add you as the interested party, and you can start to begin to receive these on your email, and you'll get directions on how to access them online. I know a lot of people don't know that you can access this online, or give Heidi Roach your email, and she will start every 72 hours beforehand giving them to you when city council gets them. Thank you.
Okay, we move on to item D3.
I need a vote. Motion by Mr. Negretti, seconded by Mr. Kennedy. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
Okay, now we move on to item D3. Adopting the Measure I 5-year capital improvement plan for fiscal year 2018, 2019 through 2022 and /2023. Madam Clerk, do you have a recommendation?
That the City Council adopt resolution number 18-080, adopting the Measure I 5-year capital improvement plan for fiscal year 2018-2019 through fiscal year 2022 and 2023.
Thank you. Questions of council members, of staff by council members?
I have a question, a bit of a comment on the last page. I was trying my best to read this, the projects, and I could not. And somewhere I hope we'll get a blow up of that, because this is for 5 years, and I'm sure the council will probably want to refer to it sometime.
We can have that, whenever it's revised.
You know, I want to follow the rules correctly here. I've been told whenever I make a request to staff, we need the entire council. So Mr. Cox, I mean, I don't see anybody going against you, but I think we should keep the normal procedure of if anything's going to be directed to staff, it's either directed to staff like you just did, or we continue to do it as a body. But I'm getting confused here as why it's not happening one way or the other, only when certain individuals ask this question.
Well, let me clarify. I could not read this. I'm making a request to do it. If it requires council approval, council should address this. I can't read it. At some time in the future, individuals are going to want to see this. If the city council doesn't want to, that's fine. I'm asking that they do it.
I'm going to go ahead and second that because I agree with you.
I apologize. I had intended to distribute an 11/17 of this plan, because I agree that 8.5 by 11 is very difficult to read, and that should have happened, but apparently you don't have it before you right now, so we can certainly provide that.
So I call for the question.
Question is to approve the 5-year plan?
No, to call the question is the city clerk is supposed to be taking our roll call votes.
The call of the question would require a second and just closes the debate.
I second it. There was a motion, I second it, and I call the question.
Has it been a motion? I'm not aware of a motion.
When Mr. Cox just spoke and I asked, he said if it required the entire council.
Mr. Cox, were you making a motion to include it in larger map?
If the council wants,
Is that a motion?
I don't, wait, let's not for a second. Let's get it settled. We have an item we can't read. The message is clear. In the future, and even for this, have it blown up. So I will follow, since we're getting technical, process the council. Mr. City Manager, direct the question to you, since we should be dealing with you. That's it. Rule.
Well, this is the Measure I 5-year capital improvement plan. It's one that we have changed when we decided to make changes in it. But the plan is required to be submitted, am I not? Right?
Yes, it's an annual requirement to submit.
EPA requires it to be submitted?
Yes.
Do we have a motion or not? Jim, did you make that? No. I'll make a motion to approve item B3. And I agree with him, because I can't read it either.
Second.
It's impossible to read it. But we've looked at it in some detail over the last 5 years, so there's nothing in there that's a surprise, right?
So there was a request for Mr. Cox directed to the city manager, and I would like to know how the city manager is going to be approaching that request.
I will be making a larger copy of this document.
Thank you.
Are there any speaker cards on this item?
I don't have any speaker cards.
Motion by Mr. Kennedy, seconded by Mr. McGrady. Any further questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
Now we move on to item B4. Capital project needs analysis for Green Tree Boulevard Extension Project. Madam Clerk, will you give a recommendation?
That the city council approve the capital project needs analysis for the Green Tree Boulevard Extension Project for years 2018, 2019 through 2022 and 2023.
Thank you. Questions?
Yes, yes, again, I'm going to put in the record, I was not allowed to meet Mr. Brian Gangler pursuant to the city manager's discretionary act of saying that I would not be able to despite municipal code. So I'd like to let everybody know that I'm not prepared to vote for this item, and so I'm going to be voting no on those circumstances because I was denied seeing city staff for particular items in this item, items that were pertaining last time to the Green Tree Boulevard extension. Thank you.
I do not have any speaker cards.
I have to say, that's kind of surprising to me, because this is a full-time job for Ms. Gomez. It's absolutely a part-time job for me. I had time to read it, pretty easy to understand it. I was a little bothered by the title. It's not an analysis of whether or not we need the Green Tree interchange. It's an analysis of what the financial needs are to pay for the Green Tree extension. Am I right?
Yes, and this is an SBCTA term. This is what they call it, the capital project needs analysis for programming their funds. It doesn't commit us to the project, but they're trying to plan ahead to program funds.
You know, when you got a 40-hour-a-week job to be a city council member, and this has been posted
As
since
a
last
point of privilege,
Thursday,
there's no need to
I
attack
don't
anybody
understand
here.
why. She
As
didn't
a
have
point of
time
privilege,
to
and then you
understand.
don't need to attack anybody.
I'm not interrupting you. I'd like to
As a
finish
point
my
of
comment.
privilege, no, I'm not. As a point of privilege, if you learn, it requires me to be able to interject when you're interrupting me.
I do not have any speaker cards. Do I need a motion?
Move approval of item D4.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Kennedy. Motion by Mr. Negretti, seconded by Mr. Kennedy. Any further questions or comments?
Yes, again, I'd like to reiterate the same. I was not able to get the information to be able to vote on this Green Tree Boulevard project for the discretion of the city manager not allowing me, despite municipal code, allowing me to inquire to staff about any item that council would like to address.
Motion by Mr. Negretti, seconded by Mr. Kennedy. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed?
Aye.
Motion carries with Ms. Gomez voting no.
Now we move on to item D5. Award of contract for Class 1 bike path along Fair Valley Road project and appropriation of grant funding. Madam Clerk, read the recommendation.
That the city council award a construction contract to Riverside Construction Company in the amount of $1,173,123 for the Class 1 bike path along Bear Valley Road project. Appropriate $792,000 from an active transportation program cycle 3 augmentation grant from the State Department of Transportation, and appropriate $559,000 from a Transportation Development Act Article 3 grant from the San Bernardino County Transportation Authority, and adopt resolution number 18-081, amending the annual budget for fiscal year 2018 and 2019.
Thank you. Are there any questions by council members of staff? There being none, I do not have any speaker cards. Therefore, I need a motion.
Move approval of item D5.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Negretti, seconded by Mr. Kennedy. Any further questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed?
Abstain.
Motion carries with Mr. Cox abstaining.
Moving on to item D6. Lien agreement and release of existing bonds for track number 15598-3 to 15598-5. Madam Clerk, please read a recommendation.
Enter in a lien agreement with Shizao as security for the improvements required by section 17.64.060 D2 of the Victorville Municipal Code for track maps 15598-3 to 15598-5 and release the existing bonds for track maps 15598-3 to 15598-5 upon recordation of the lien agreement.
Thank you. Questions of staff or council members? None? I do not have any speaker cards. So I need a motion and a second.
I move approval of item D6.
Sorry.
Motion by Mr. Kennedy, seconded by Mr. Cox. Any further questions or comments? All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
Item D7, request to increase the water rebuild overhaul of the CNG station compressor. Madam Clerk, read the recommendation.
That the City Council approve the increase of the award to Atlas Copco for the rebuild overhaul of the CNG station compressor in the amount of $9,745.01 for a total of $55,686.31 as budgeted for in the fiscal year 2018-2019 capital improvement project budget.
Thank you. Council members, do you have any questions of staff?
Yeah, Keith, this would be a good example of the spending authority that you will have after this meeting. This was a $45,000 item, it's got a $9,000 change order. None of this would have come to the council, right?
Yeah, I think this came within a few $100s. It exceeded my authority by a few $100s.
If the change order pushes it over the 50,000, would that come to us? Or the change order itself is under, well,
The change order authority, I believe, under the new code allows for $50,000 above the 50. Whatever that threshold is above the 50, there is a change order authority. Anything that exceeds that, then I would come back to the council.
so you would have had to come back with this, even if you'd approved the original 44,000.
No, I believe under the current code, I'm sorry, yeah, 20, I believe it's 20%, so still $400 original.
I do not have any speaker cards, therefore I need a motion in a second.
I move approval of this item.
Sorry.
Motion by Mr. Kennedy, seconded by Mr. Cox. Any further questions or comments?
Yes, so for clarification, this item would not be under the city manager's purview because it's over by a threshold. Is that accurate?
This item is over, that's why it's coming back.
Thank you. The next question that I have is, do we have MOUs with CNG or any fueling stations in case we were to have an emergency fuel for any type of emergency situation or to loan out to any other cities?
I missed the first part of that question.
Yes, do we have any MOUs, memorandums of understanding with CNG or any of the fueling stations like oil that we could, potentially use more of the oil if that's pertaining to this or not?
So this,
Emergency preparedness.
certainly this is compressed natural gas. There's other stations up here. There's VBTA stations. We have 2 stations. There's stations downhill. We also keep spare compressors on hand to rebuild our stations. So I think there's redundancy there and the option for people to go other places to get CNG fuel.
So we don't have memos of understanding or agreements?
No, they're just like a gas station. They can go get gas wherever they want to go.
Thank you.
Motion by Mr. Kennedy, seconded by Mr. Cox. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
Now we move on to item D8, annual purchase order for Mojave Water Agency for regional recharge and recovery R3 water deliveries. Madam Clerk, read the recommendation.
That the Victorville Water District Board of Directors approve the annual purchase order request for MWA or R-Cube water deliveries for a not to exceed amount of $1,143,000 for fiscal year 2018-2019.
Thank you. Council members, do you have any questions of staff?
Yes, does the city of Victorville have any memos of understanding with other cities, and would that affect the cost, or what's it per unit cost? Because I know we've been loaning out water to our landfill.
We don't have any memos of understanding. We do have agreements with adjacent jurisdictions that do have interconnector tie-in, and I think the one that you're speaking specifically for Adelanto, we do have an emergency services agreement with them, and they have been relying on that to deliver water to their pipeline system during the summer largely, but also when they've had pump failures in their community.
Does that impact the residents of the city of Victorville with their water usage? Because we have a lot of concerned citizens who are looking at water conservation and water usage, and they're letting me know that they're stymied or hampered with their desire to be able to wash their vehicles outside because of the water conservation. And I want to be able to provide them an answer that's not beating around the bush. And so I think this is an opportunity to let me know if it's hampering or not hampering.
So it is not. There is no hampering involved in our provision or providing of water to the city of Adelanto on an emergency basis. It has no negative effect on our residents.
Thank you. No further questions.
I do not have any speaker cards, therefore I am someone just submitted one. Alejandra?
And, yes, good evening, thank you. Yes, that was my question, what Ms. Gomez has. Have you looked for other buyers to get water in order to prevent that expenditure over $1 million? Have you tried, ask, or look around for a better price? Or also, do you guys take care of all the when the water conductors broke? Because in Victorville, about Bear Valley and Amethyst, there's always water running there. It's always running water. Sometimes the water is running after 12 hours. We call, we wait online for over 47 minutes, and one of the times that I call, I couldn't stay longer. I was working and I couldn't wait for someone to come to the phone and pick up. So maybe we're wasting water by not doing the proper repairs, and yet we want to just go and buy just for only one source. It'll be good if you guys look for a different source or more, economical source. And it's my opinion that you guys take care of, the services and repair ASAP all those leaks that I have seen. Thank you.
I'd like for the city manager to respond. Our Cube project, which is water we purchase for use from MWA. We make an annual allocation. We have no other choice. We have no place to buy it. We have an agreement, they have an agreement with the state water project where they buy water from the aqueduct. We have an adjudicated water basin, and our source of water is from the aqueduct through MWA or pump it. And Casa de Atlanta does not, in fact, we don't use our water rights to provide water to Atlanta. They must use theirs. And if they see theirs, they must buy it from MWA. It has no effect at all on the citizens of Victorville. On the other hand, separate, which is not this agenda item, if we have leaks and they're not being reported or being reported and not being repaired, I would think that that's something we want to look into. There's no competition on this. We are restricted in where we get water.
We get water from two places. We pump it out of the ground or we buy it from MWA. There is no other source to acquire water. We can acquire water rights from other entities, but water comes from those two sources. If we could catch it all when it fell out of the sky, that might help. We are replenishing the aquifer with what we buy from MWA. We're also satisfying our makeup obligation to all the downstream communities. So This is something we have to do. We don't have an option. It's all a result of a case that was adjudicated in San Bernardino County courts in 1990. This is not an option that we can go out and shop for other water. But I do agree with the issue of leaks and repairs in the system, and we are in the process of going through major replacements in Old Town and others. We've got major water replacement plans, pipe replacements. We've got some old pipes in the ground, 4 inches. Do we have 4 still? Some, maybe some 6. But we're in the process of replacing this stuff. So it's a multi-pronged project. This is something we need to do.
Madam Mayor, members of the council, if I might, this particular item is specific to providing a budget to pay for the pumping costs associated with the RQ project. So that would basically remove the water from the RQ basin, put it in a pipe, and deliver it to our storage tanks. And I want to bring particular attention because comment was made about the economics. And I think we've touched on the source of water, and the source of water is twofold. You pull out of the ground, and you're going to replenish the groundwater with the state aqueduct water. But we have about 35, 36 or so wells throughout the city, and as those wells are pumping water from different locations, there's different constituencies, and in some cases, different treatment processes required to make sure that you have the highest quality of water. And we're very mindful of that. In fact, some of our wells are tied to certain types of treatment systems that we basically shut off and mothballed effectively because we're able to rely better on this RQ project. In fact, if we could get a greater allocation of RQ, we would prefer to purchase the water out of the RQ project first, because then we use it to blend. The RQ water is a very high quality water, so if we can get more and more of that high quality water, it actually reduces the cost to treat some of the water from other locations that have different types of constituencies in them. So we're very mindful of the cost effectiveness of water. When it comes to the actual allocation of rights, we do rely on free production allowance, though it is ramped down. That's basically your pumping rights. But we also are very mindful that when it comes to makeup or replacement, we're very economically minded. Our primary source to pull from would be the state water project. I don't know today's exact price, but let's call it about $550 an acre foot. So knowing that as a benchmark, we are regularly on an annual basis, and we'll bring those items back to the council for consideration. We actually do purchase makeup and replacement rights through leasing of water rights not being used by others. And we typically find those prices at much cheaper costs. So we're always watching the cost of water supply and making sure that it's the most cost effective.
We will go to the ballgame and spend $4 on this bottle of water. The water we buy from MWA probably costs less than 1,000 of 1 penny per gallon at $150 per acre feet. I'm doing some rough math in my head. I'll bet it's cheaper than that. So if you want to talk about an expensive check we're writing, a big check, in terms of the water that we use and consume, that price is tiny. I move approval of the item for there.
Second.
I did not have any speaker cards.
Motion by Mr. Kennedy, seconded by Mr. Negretti. Any further questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
Item D9, award of agreement for brokerage services. Madam Clerk, read your recommendation.
That the City Council approve the contract professional services provider agreement with Caldwell Banker for brokerage services and authorize the Deputy City Manager to execute said agreement.
Thank you. Do you have any questions, council members of staff? None? I do not have any speaker cards.
Move approval of item.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Negretti, seconded by Mr. Kennedy. Any further questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
Item D10, standard sublease agreement for SCLA buildings 683, 731, and 734. Madam Clerk, read the recommendation.
That the Southern California Logistics Airport Authority Board of Directors approve entry into a sublease agreement for Building 683 and another standard sublease agreement for Buildings 731 and 734 by and between the SCLAA and General Atomics Aeronautical Systems Incorporated, adopt resolution number SCLAA 18-005, amending the fiscal year 2018-2019 budget for additional revenue in the amount of $315,288, and authorize the deputy city manager to execute said agreements.
Thank you.
Boy, Eric, this looks like a tremendous arrangement. The school. Question though, we've seen this stuff in the paper about some of the private schools that have cheated their students out of fees and whatnot. Is this a school that is going to charge tuition? Is it somehow subsidized? Do you know anything about the school?
I do know a little bit about that. I don't think you're going to find that to be the case with this company at all. But we also have 3 members of GA's, General Atomics management group here, that be able to speak a little bit more to that. But specifically, these students would be part of the Victor Valley College system that is currently at the property, but then would also transition into additional training in composites and avionics and things of that nature, and then work into a career opportunity. So there's a program in place where they will train those people and put them on the payroll, if you will, on a part-time basis, and hopefully choose the best of them for career.
General Atomics is going to fund the school.
They are funding that, a large part of that. It's an amazing opportunity for this community. Credit needs to be given to General Atomics. They're a great company, over 13,000 employees worldwide. But they, as you know, we've said before, and I think I've presented that to the council in the past, was that one of the problems and one of the elements that hinders our development at the base is just getting the mechanics. There's a need for an inflow of mechanics. There's a national shortage. General Atomics has taken the approach that they're going to be a part of the solution rather than just complaining about the problems. So having said that, I'd like to introduce Dave Hyatt, John Key, and Lisa Boatwright from the Aeronautical Systems Division of GA to talk a little bit more specifically.
Hello. Hi, yes, we want to lease these buildings. I'm Lisa Boatwright. I am line of business manager for General Atomics. We want to lease these buildings in corporation. We have current workings out at the SCLA buildings in conjunction with our aircraft modifications, and we would be moving that into one of the larger hangars. And then our apprenticeship program, we would like to move into the 2 smaller hangars for our AMP programs and our composite programs, bringing additional employment opportunities and job opportunities for incoming students.
I'd like to introduce Dave Hyatt, who would actually be in, his group's going to be in the larger hangar, 863. That's the component that Ms. Boatwright just mentioned, that would actually be working on aircraft right now, that are doing some of that already at the airport.
Hello, good evening. Dave Hyatt. I'm a director with General Atomics. I've worked with the company now for about 30 years. We do plan on doing modifications in one of the bigger hangars, and then the 2 smaller, older hangars, we're in a partnership with VVC to provide pathways for high school students to understand what opportunities there are for, how do you get the term right? Aerospace opportunities within the high desert. So partnership between General Atomics, General Electric, CalMav, and other businesses in the high desert. So Boeing, certainly. One of the hangars is going to be an apprenticeship program that's sponsored by VVC, but funded by General Atomics for avionics technicians. The other hangar 731 will be used for composites to try and help VVC College expand their A&P program, again funded by General Atomics. We're not asking for any money from the city. We're not asking for any funding. We're just looking to get approval for the leases in the context of what Eric's put together and our company
Does this
has.
link together with the current school we have at the base?
But probably the best news tonight was about the olive branch, putting something like this behind the city, because it sounds like it could have some very trivial or misunderstandings involved. Now, it's difficult to undo a court case, but the olive branch issue sounds like the best news tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Ruth Cordova?
Good afternoon, Miss Mayor, although she's not here, I respect her, Mr. Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, council members, and command staff. I just caught wind of this issue just a couple of seconds ago, and I just wanted to speak in behalf of the mayor. I find her to be extremely professional, courteous. She takes the time to listen to people, and what I'm also forming the opinion here is that its bottom line is that the elements of harassment were not established. And when the elements are not established within the court of law, it's thrown out, dismissed, or what have you. It appears to me that at the time of the incident, I don't know all of the facts, but I just heard what the last commentator stated. The mayor was not acting within the course and scope of her performance. This was an issue that had occurred outside. But it also appears to me that the accuser is here tonight, and he has been here almost every council meeting. So the accuser is actually the harasser. Other commentators are just, it's all hearsay, just forming an opinion because they do not like her. And because of all of the animosity that has been occurring within the council. But in whole, I believe that, in my opinion, she has been performing her duties exceptionally well. She is an outstanding leader, and she leads by positive example to the Latino community in the city of Victorville. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Rudy Garcia?
Thank you. Mary Gloria Garcia is my mother. And as far as the restaurant, I'll get to that in just a second. But as far as what happened here between this individual and my mother, that says a council for you to decide. What I'm here to tell you is that this individual has harassed my mother at Jersey Community Bank in public, not once but twice. Okay? And the last time, the restaurant, Richie's Diner, I was there. He confronted my mother. And the only reason he's walking right now is because my wife wouldn't let me get to him. There's a word for cowards like you. Yeah, I'm talking to you. There's a word for cowards like you. Okay, there's a word for, they like to confront women, 4'10", 100-pound what? Great-grandmother. There's a word for that, but I won't say it. Yeah, film me. Okay. I begged my mother to file a restraining order, but she didn't want to do that. And this is the result, okay? I just want to let you know, if he harasses her at her office, calls, and wants to speak to her. So I just want to let the council and law enforcement be aware of this. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker is Sandra Garcia. I'm sorry, I can't see clearly the first name, so I may have messed that up.
You were right, you just pronounced it a little different. First of all, her lights weren't on. They automatically go off. But in defense to everything else that everybody's saying that it happened in Richie's Diner, It is on video, on your guys' video and this video, that she's been verbally attacked twice here on the diocese. I was even here at those meetings. That's where it started. Then she got scared because she was attacked.
No, keep the direction. Speak to me.
Because she was verbally attacked at Richie's Diner. He didn't tell her lights were on. He just came up telling her she was useless, that she shouldn't be the mayor. He was saying comments like that. I was between him and her and my husband. I know what he said. But it started here. He's been harassing her. He's doing this in retaliation for her pressing charges. Because he went and tried to press charges on her and he got denied. So that's why we're here today. Thank you.
Defer to the clerk for a second, and then any other cards, any additional cards? That's all the cards I have at this point in time. I'm going to close out the audience comments, bring them back to the city council. And before we enter into any decisions, comments from the council, I believe that, you had requested to make a comment or a statement? Question, okay.
So again, to the city attorney, it's my understanding that you're in violation of the city's policy by having a council member, in this case the appointed presiding chair, having this agenda today. The policy clearly prevents any one or more councilors from coming and asking any city manager or requesting to any city attorney to add anything on the agenda without the council body's approval. And this has been done, I'm not sure why. No, this occurrence did not occur in her performance of her duties while sitting at Richie's Diner restaurant with her family. I believe Mrs. Medawar was the one that a week later handed Mr. Pachetti this citation violation. I believe our municipal code reflects coming back to the violation that has happened today in front of us, and I'd like these violations to be a part of the city's records for the corrections, and I make a formal verbal request for the city to cure and correct this action, to bring the city back to being in line with the rules that are consistent with transparency and not arbitrariness, and such decisions under the person's discretion that has been done by the city attorney's actions. Are the taxpayers by law restrained in representing any legislative body with public funds when such acts of annoyance, disturbance, mockery, and abuse of power are exercised in the areas of personal convening? That's the question I'm posing. What cost did the city incur already as a private except as a representation to a civil harassment? Why should the city council consider defending a council member who antagonizes and uses absolute power to flex fantastical muscle?
Is that a motion? I'm sorry.
These are all questions that I don't have any responses as of yet, that I'm waiting for responses.
Okay, we will try to get to those. Are there any comments from the council?
Yes, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, thank you.
No questions? Sorry, go ahead.
Sure, thank you. I would like to say to our visitors and folks who may not be used to our council meetings for the last 2 years, this is an incredible waste of our time. And we have professional staff here, we have very accomplished people here, we have law enforcement here, we have the city attorney. And there are petty disagreements in local politics. It's sad because there's a lot of great stuff happening today. But I just want people to understand, there's a small part of every community that does not understand what's happening. They're angry. They don't know how to articulate themselves. They don't know how to work with others. They don't know how processes work. And then they become resentful. Every 2 years we have elections, and this could happen to a school board. It could happen to city council or water agency. People have disagreements. But to be here to talk about this is laughable. But it's also a pathetic way to think. Mayor Garcia is doing a great job. She's the first Latina mayor in the city of Victorville. And when we're doing this job, people aren't happy, sometimes people aren't happy. And it amazes me that they come to the city of Victorville as if it's a one-stop shop for whatever is wrong with them, whatever bothers them. And very many, oftentimes, whatever their issue is cannot be solved by a city government. So there are other ways to have stress release, but to come here and to attack the mayor of our city is despicable. But, you know, we're doing the city's business, and you'll see 41 votes all the time, so it's a long waste of time, but we're doing our job.
Mr. Kennedy, any comments or questions?
Has a lawsuit been filed?
If I might, Mayor Pro Tem, I'd like to answer some of the questions that have been raised today.
I was going to ask you, there were some questions pending, and I hope you will try to answer those.
The first was whether or not, or how this item was placed on the agenda. Under the city's policy manual, chapter 4, section 3, subsection 3, and subsection C, and I'll read it to you. When so directed by a majority of the city council, this is the key, or upon his or her own initiative, when circumstances warrant, the city manager and the city attorney may place items on the agenda. This item was placed on the agenda by my own initiative, totally consistent with the recently adopted council policy. The second thing to know is the comments here, we're not having the trial. That's what the courthouse is for next door. All we're asking tonight is to have your authorization consistent with Government Code Section 995, which basically, if any council member requests a defense in a matter affecting the scope of their activities, that they get a defense, and you are required to defend them under those circumstances. Mr. Pichetti is attempting to use basically a civil restraint process to preclude Mayor Garcia from performing her duties. Doesn't necessarily be confined to City Hall. So the question before you, we're not having a trial tonight, is just a simple question as to whether or not the council is going to basically provide for her defense. The fact is she has received a civil restraint complaint. It's not actually formally a complaint, it's basically a written process. And we actually had a hearing on Friday. We took the initiative to go and defend her because we did not have a council meeting, we could not seek prior approval. So all that being said, all we're asking for is to have the ability to defend her. The issues that are brought up tonight, those are before the court. The fact that Mr. Pichetti is offering an olive branch is encouraging. If he wants to pursue that, the appropriate way would be to come and discuss it with me, and to the extent we can get it resolved without going through the trial process, that would be wonderful for everybody involved. However, at this point, it is before the court. You have a council member that has basically been sued in court, and so under the government code, and I will read the government code because it is somewhat mandatory, it says in section 995, except as otherwise provided in section 995.2 or 995.4, upon the request of an employee, and the courts have indicated that an employee includes an officer, i.e. a council member, or former employee, a public entity shall, it's not may, shall provide for the defense of any civil action or proceeding brought against him in his official capacity or individual capacity or both on account of an act or omission in the scope of his employment as an employee of the public. The civil restraint filed by Mr. Pichetti basically is challenging Mrs. Gloria Garcia's ability to act as a mayor, not only in the city hall, but out in the public. So we believe it's appropriate to defend her at this time. And again, to the extent there's an opportunity to settle that, there's an olive branch out there, obviously. I'm always in favor of settling these matters and putting these matters to rest. But what I'm asking for is the authorization to defend her.
So council members, you have heard from the people who spoke. You have also heard the questions from a council member, comments from other council members. Your decision is whether or not you believe this was an official capacity and authorizing the attorney to represent Mayor Garcia. It is not whether or not we're guilty or innocent, and it is not whether or not that'll come out in the, if they want to drop it or whatever, that's not up to us. That could have been up to us, but now it's at the court, we would be intervening in the court to try to make a decision. We believe she needs the city attorney to represent her in official capacity or not.
So I'd like to,
That's open for a motion.
I'd like to interject. you read a code, a civil code, or a government code 995.2, and then you said .4, and you alluded to the word employee, i.e. council member, which is very interesting because to disclose, the city manager, when I had that argument with him and debated that I was an employee of the city of Victorville, he denied that to be the fact, that I was not an employee, and I was incumbent. So I just wanted to shed light on what I'm understanding from your reading of that civil code versus what we're encountering in the past with the city manager's decision. So that was kind of enlightening. And the last thing, I want to bring up a motion myself. And the motion includes that the use of public funds and resources for lack of a responsible city representative was done outside the role of a mayor. And it would be imprudent to continue the wasteful spending for capricious, arbitrary, and untransparent actions committed outside of the professionalism that is expected of a city mayoral seat. I oppose this pork barrel spending on the city of Victorville, and this is my motion.
To respond to,
Wait. There's a motion on the floor.
Is there a second? There being no second, the motion dies.
if I might, Mayor Pro Tem, with respect to the Government Code 995, there have actually been court cases that have indicated that council members are deemed to be officers and are included within the definition of employee for the purposes of Government Code Section 995.
I think the discussion is over and we're supposed to vote.
Move for approval of item D11.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Negretti, seconded by Mr. Kennedy. Any further questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed?
Aye.
Motion carried with Ms. Gomez voting no, Mayor Garcia absent.
At this point in time, somebody asked the mayor to please return to their chair. Give the gavel back. This, before we start, this was a, that was a market here. If you wanted to speak on the trade agreement, that's all we're supposed to do. I guess it's. Yes. Thank you.
Okay, we move on. Item D12, discussion regarding loud music disturbances and applicable municipal code. Madam Clerk, review a recommendation.
Any action is at the discretion of the city council.
Are there any questions of staff by council members?
Well, I asked to put this on the agenda, and then I read the staff report, which I think we all did, and it looks to me like we have all the ordinances and rules in place to deal with this issue. I guess I am only troubled by that person who spoke last time, who said that she has just repeatedly experienced this loud noise, and the police come, they don't do anything, and nothing has happened. Do we have any further information on that?
Mayor and council, the citizen that you're speaking to, I have corresponded with her, talked with her a few times. Our code official has as well as the police chief. It's just a matter of us being able to catch, be able to respond to the location when the music is going on the weekends. Obviously, our deputies have much higher priority calls, so we're really working with her to try to get the timing right. But we do have the existing code on the books in our muni code, as well as a penal code that the chief has referenced. And he has advised us that he's let his dispatchers and deputies know that they can utilize any of these codes to try to stop this and try to help her. So we're continuing to work with her.
Is there a way in a situation like this that a person could, using their phone or camera or something, people video all kinds of bad events in this world. You'd think we could maybe video that kind of an event and have some sort of proof, is that?
I'll let the code official or Lieutenant Wickham speak, but my understanding is either a code official or a deputy has to witness it while the violation is taking place. Don't believe the video is sufficient.
Thank you. The video may be sufficient if it's of quality, but the concern is making sure that we notify the person who's in charge and control that property, that they know that we received a complaint. That's the first step, as a warning. Then after that, administratively, we can, as the staff report indicates, issue pretty stiff fines, assessed against that person, assessed against that property. In addition to that, assessed against any party goer, should there be party goers that are maybe adding to that nuisance. But certainly that's definitely an option if it meets that criteria of holding that person responsible for that nuisance, so we can properly issue that notice.
Madam Mayor, comment. What was great about this item is that there is a way to deal with these problems. So if I'm reading it correctly, this is a matter for either the code enforcement folks or the police. Is that true?
That's correct. Typically, as the deputy city manager indicated, it's happening late. So
And I understand that law enforcement has quite a bit of on their hands. And on the other hand, we do have great resources. And I really enjoyed the earlier public information outreach on dumping, which is very annoying. But so is loudness. And I think we've all experienced this one time or another. And the key thing is to know what the city resources are. The hours have been modified. When it comes to being on the city council, one of the things you always have to look at is how many code enforcement officers are appropriate for the city, the size of your city, but also law enforcement. So we're going to continue to add. We're going to continue to add. And this is really good clarification for our residents. They need to call City Hall and understand what the situation is. I didn't understand it myself. I did until a few years ago, and now I'm more than happy to discuss it with anyone. But we all have jobs to do.
30 seconds.
And the last thing you need is aggravation. And if you don't build a record, a history of a nuisance property owner, they're just going to continue doing it. But you have to know the proper channels of doing it. So, like I said, I'd really like to see some public outreach on this issue right here, what to do. Okay.
I guess not. I do have one speaker card for this item, D12. Ruth Cordova.
Honorable Mayor, nice to have you back. Mayor Pro Tem, council members. The issue that I have is irrelevant, or the comment that I have is irrelevant to this one particular issue, but it's kind of like consistent to the statement. And Mr. Negrete, Councilman Negrete, if you recall, when you spoke, you made a statement with respect to, you know, when you're driving around and you see, you kind of wonder who these people are when they have their animals chained up in a really hot day. That really bothered me. I mean, I love my animals, and it really bothered me. And, you know, every day I thought about that, and I'm hopeful, and only you know this, the council members know this, I'm hopeful that when you witness animal cruelty as such during extreme hot or extreme cold weather conditions, that you enforce proper protocols and enhance the citations or penalties or whatever you need to do in order to deter that type of behavior. And if they don't pay those penalties, put a lien on their home. You know, hold the homeowners accountable. But please do something for the animals. I mean, that really bothers me. But thank you for that statement. Otherwise, I would not have brought that up. Thank you.
That was the only card that I had.
As a point of order, there was a request made by Mr. Fuentes to read into the record the concerns that he had established. So the city clerk and Andre should have received that information a few hours ago.
Did that have anything to do with the noise ordinance?
No.
We're on the noise ordinance still.
Public comment?
No, we're not there yet.
So anyhow, that was the last speaker card that I had on D12. I need a motion in a second, or is there some other action that we're going to take on this? Well, it says motion in a second, or at the discretion of the council.
I'm not sure there's necessarily take any action. I think it was an information item that Councilmember Gray wanted to know what was being done, and staff has provided a outline of all the things that we actually have in the municipal code. So unless the council wants to direct differently, I think it's just an issue of putting the resources towards.
So everyone's satisfied with the way.
I hope, hopefully.
Wonderful, very good. Thank you. Now we move on to item up to public comments. And I do have some cards. Madam Clerk, would you want to review a statement first?
This is the time and place for the general public to address the city council on any item listed or not listed on the agenda. Per Government Code Section 54954.3, state law prohibits the council from addressing any issue not previously included on the agenda. The council may receive testimony and set the matter to a subsequent meeting. Comments are to be limited to 3 minutes per individual or less, as deemed necessary by the mayor, depending upon the number of individuals desiring to speak. All communications are to be addressed directly to the council, not the members of the audience. This is a professional business meeting and courtesy and decorum are expected. Please refrain from any debate between audience and speaker, making loud noises, or engaging in any activity which might be disruptive to the decorum of the meeting. Any person or group who interferes with the conduct of a city council meeting by willfully interrupting and/or disrupting the meeting is subject to removal. A peace officer may be requested to assist with removal should any person or group fail to comply with an order of removal by the council. Any person or group who resists removal by a peace officer is subject to arrest and prosecution pursuant to California Government Code Section 54957.9, Penal Code Section 403.
Thank you. The first card that I have is Tyler Luder, and after Tyler will be Alejandra.
Good evening, Council. I think all of us have heard the saying that elections have consequences. It is unfortunate that our city has someone like Blanca Gomez representing us because in reality, she does not serve Victorville's best interest. Blanca has proven that she represents the far-left Socialist Democrat Party's agenda. She has blocked Victorville from joining the lawsuit to overturn Governor Brown's unlawful and unconstitutional sanctuary state law. She would rather have illegal aliens terrorizing and committing crimes throughout Victorville. Sanctuary city policies only make communities less safe and shelter criminals. Take a look at San Francisco. Because of San Francisco's sanctuary city policies, Kate Steinle was murdered by an illegal alien who had been deported 5 times. Kate Steinle is just one of many lives that have been lost because of failure to enforce immigration laws. Yet Blanca does not want to allow Victorville to enforce immigration laws. All of you as elected officials of the city of Victorville has a responsibility to keep the residents of Victorville safe. With Blanca on the council, Victorville is genuinely witnessing the consequence that an election can have. I urge any Victorville residents here tonight that have not signed the recall petition to please do so we can have the opportunity to get Blanca off the council and right this wrong. I also urge everyone here tonight, before you go to vote this November, take the time and research every candidate, because the last thing we need is another person like Blanca as an elected official. I thank the council for giving me this opportunity to speak.
Thank you. Alejandra, and after Alejandra, Robert German.
Good evening again. Well, I'm gonna speak. I am very happy with the performance of Blanca Gomez because she is the only one that truly informs us of what's going on in the city. We don't have the response to what we request or to our needs. I seen, for instance, Maggie Martin walking into the city clerk and they open the door and right away they walk her into behind the offices, but that was not the response that I received. So I think that you guys are excluding Blanca Gomez because she's the only one that asks the questions and that inform us what is really going on. Also, I have a request to see the signatures that are being collected to recall Blanca Gomez. I have requested that twice. Like I said, nobody has back to me, and they refuse to show us the signatures that are being collected. Mayor Garcia is not doing a great job, like Mr. Negretti says, but I guess Mr. Negretti is so comfortable being like he is, a lazy person. He rather to say yes, yes, and instead of finding out what is best for the community. Obviously, Gloria Garcia and Negretti and other two of you are not working for the community, and we need people that works for the community. And Jess, thank you for reminding us. Election comes, and we're gonna vote. We're gonna vote. If we don't have some answers, and you guys don't behave, and don't do your job because you guys are not doing your job. You, Major Garcia, you're not doing your job. You're not treating well your community. You're not treating us well. Mr. Negretti, do something. Put yourself to work. Don't continue being lazy and just attacking and excluding everybody else that is really working for the community. Major Garcia, the way you correct us and the way you attacked us, why don't you correct the others? Why don't you do equal for everybody? City clerk, take all your trainings, respond to the messages, contact us, respond to us. The way you respond to Maggie Martin, the way you guys respond to the people that you like, respond to all of us. We all have the right to know what's going on. And you guys are denying our right. And that's the only reason that you're excluding Blanca Gomez, and we need to see the signatures that are being collected for the recall. We need to see them. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Robert Herman?
Good evening. I had a couple things. Is this on? The project for the trash was excellent. They're doing a fantastic job with that. As a contractor, I continuously witness this kind of thing going on. I would just like to add one thing. The people every day are sitting at Home Depot with their trash trucks saying they haul trash. They do not have business licenses, and they're doing work in a capacity at an amount that requires them to have a contractor's license, which they don't have either. So I would ask that code enforcement maybe go by and educate these people. You don't have to write them tickets right away, but educate these people. If you want to do business in Victorville, you have to get a business license just like the rest of us. The next thing I'd like to talk about is the circus. And our ringleader is just that. And everyone needs to know why we can't get anything done in this city. Okay? My God. Couldn't see, the paper was too big or too small, and she makes a big deal out of that. And when there's plenty of time to get down to real business. Secondly, this is why I'm recalling her. All right? Now, they want to see signatures. They have no right to the signatures until we turn them in. We are still collecting having people sign the petition. They have no right for us to give them the signatures. Charlene doesn't have, we haven't given her any signatures. So why do they complain about going to her? Because they want to see signatures that we've gotten so far. Okay? The signatures all get turned in when we get enough of them. All right? So, with all of that said, Mrs. Gomez, do yourself a favor and just step down. I ask for your resignation, like I always do. Thanks, Council.
Thank you. Ramiro Rodriguez and after Ramiro, Robin Edson.
No one's going to relinquish power willingly. No one's going to give up their seat willingly. They will for a reason. One of the reasons was because of Blanca's vote, the golf course wasn't being processed through. So when Mr. Kennedy is not running again, but somebody else is going to run in this position that really wants to go ahead with the golf course, which is costing the city, us, what, $500,000 a year in subsidies? $9,000 a week, or was it $9,000 a week? $500,000? I would love to have a business and have the city pay me $9,000 a week to keep it afloat. Now, they could have done that to the restaurants and everything. But the thing is, the city has changed since 1970, since 1980. In the year 2000 alone, it was 75% white, 12% Hispanic. Now, it's 54 to 56% Hispanic. And you're looking at about 17% white now, with a 13% of exodus of the white population leaving the city of Victorville. So the thing is, things are changing. The median age at the year 2000 was 18 years. Now it's 29.3 years of age, the median age of this city now. So now, from going to what, 70, what was it that we have? We had close to 60,000 people in the year 2000. We have now 122,000 to this day. Now the census comes out in 2020. It's going to be maybe more than that. But the city how it was made up 20 years ago was fine because it only had 50,000 people. So the council could elect their mayor. Now we should elect the mayor. We should elect the city manager. We should elect our chief of police, the populace, not a few like it was. Maybe it worked fine a few years back, but things have to be changing now. And the thing is, they work together, everybody, because the city of Hesperia, Apple Valley, and Victorville are all in the same. It's the upper desert. So why did they kick Blanca out? Why did they arrest her? Because she had two Hispanic last name people trying to run for office in the city of Hesperia. And that throws everything to whack because everybody knows if you have Hispanic last name, you get elected. If Jeffrey Dahmer, his last name was Sanchez, he would get elected too. That's the reality. But not everybody that has a Spanish last name really represents their people or the people. I'm not saying to represent the Hispanic people. I'm saying to be fair with everybody. This city, the city council and the city management, the city government needs to reassess itself, rearrange itself, and restructure itself because the way it's set up right now is for when there was a populace of 40,000 people. It went double in just 10 years. So just think about that. Thank you very much for your time.
Yes, my name is Robin Vidston, and as the speaker referenced earlier on SB 54, there are citizens that are coming forward and would like to have a vote. We understand that it was on the agenda. Can it be voted on in closed session? So we would like to see it on the agenda again, and we would like to see an actual vote on that item. And I would like to also bring up that a group of us once again went to a meeting where Blanca Gomez was in another city, Hesperia, similar to when she went to Rialto, at a meeting that is called Know Your Rights. These meetings are designed for people in our country illegally to advise them not to interact with ICE. It's very disappointing to attend a meeting like this because they teach people in our country illegally not to obey law enforcement. And at the same time, they venerate the person that's breaking our laws. So it's very disappointing because I have always honored law enforcement and had a rejection of lawbreakers. So once again, Blanca Gomez, in her promotional piece, listed that she's a council member, just as in Rialto, when she attended that meeting, she came as a Victorville council member. And it's just one more reason we'd like the public to understand what is going on and to study and sign the recall papers. There are many Victorville citizens that have it available. It's also online, and you can go to recallblancagomez.com. Thank you.
Thank you. Deanne?
The young lady, Blanca Gomez, is doing what my parents said not to do. Don't get that rope and stretch it so long. You're going to end up being hurt. I too am asking for SB 54 to be put on, back on the agenda, to be voted on, and stop her from stopping it. Many, many different counties and cities are doing this. Now, at the beginning of the meeting, she had a camera, like this one right here, up here. I think that's against the Brown Act. It says that the public can videotape and that the dais can use, I guess that's a big camera up there, I don't know, so the rest of the world can see what's going on. She has no right to do it. She has no right to get off of that dais and go back there and grab that flag the last time. She has no right to do that. She is breaking all the laws. She needs to learn how to follow laws. I had a person attending an open meeting from the video, can do video recording. It doesn't say somebody from the dais can. And the Brown Act, which was developed in 1953, is for the people to have a say-so when they go to their city council or their school board. And it's for the people. It is not for the people on the dais. They're supposed to listen and help out. But this is to give the people a voice. And that's what this whole country's about. Give the people a voice. And Mayor Gloria Garcia, I'm proud of what kind of a mayor you've been in this city. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Raul Rodriguez? After Raul will be Ruth Cordova.
Mayor, before you start my time, I'd just like to say that the remarks I'm going to make are going to offend some people, and if they're out of order, I would be happy for you to eject them from the meeting. Thank you. 2 meetings ago, someone by the name of Valentin Godina, he tried to steal one of my signs. This individual is running for city council. What kind of a person would do that? Apparently he doesn't have any morals or any values. I consider him a thief, a criminal, and a lawbreaker. There was witnesses that saw him do this. I'm speaking to the people of Victorville out there that are watching this at home. Do not vote for this individual. He is just like Blanca Gomez, another criminal, another lawbreaker, and probably another thief. So please do not vote for these individuals. And also, I'm asking you to take the time to sign the petition to recall Blanca Gomez. She is a disgrace to Victorville, a disgrace to the American people. She does not respect this flag. She does not respect America the way she should. This is a wonderful country. Be proud of America. This is a country where people can speak like what I'm saying. She should resign. Blanca, please resign. Because you are going to be recalled. So resign now, because you need to go back and do whatever you were doing before this. So I'm asking you, voters, to sign the petition to recall Blanca, and do not vote for the individual by the name of Valentin Godina. This is who this individual is. Please do not vote for him. He is a thief, a criminal, and a lawbreaker. God bless America. God bless Donald Trump. And God bless the United States of America. Thank you.
As a point of order, I'd like to put on the record that this time was not started as soon as he was there. That we'll be paying attention to the next people.
Madam Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, City Council members, and command staff, I will make it short. I plead that you bring on the agenda SB 54 again. Prop 47, 57, AB 109, Governor Brown now removing the no bail. Arizona's prisons are overcrowded. People are coming here, and we have huge concerns with respect to our safety. Now, the gentleman before was speaking about the elections. Here I'd like to reveal, and I don't need to recite, that as a city council member, we are held to a very high standard with great moral character and values. The people of the state of California versus Jose Godina, AKA Godina Valentin, also known as. Case number Frank Victor 1502572, Superior Court, Criminal Courts, Victorville. 136 PC felony. Prevent, dissuade, witness, victim from reporting. Next charge, allegations. Serious felony, that was an enhancement. 273.6 PC. Violate court order to prevent domestic violence. 166 PC, contempt of court, violate protective orders. So here, if he's going to violate the protective order, he's going to violate the United States Constitution. 646.9 felony. Disposition, felony stalking, convicted, sentenced. On the other charges, former probation, served 364 days in San Bernardino County facility. Felony stalking, felony probation, served 3 years. State prison, Chino State Prison, 2 years. Custody status, case custody, in custody, bail set, $125,000. Criminal protective order was filed for the victim. Court orders defendant to be certified to Superior Court pursuant 859. Defendant waives time for sentencing. Defendant requests immediate sentencing. Petition to Petition to revoke probation. There was an abstract filed. The AKA used as Jose Godina. He used a fictitious address, which came back to 14740 Mesa in Victorville. That address comes back to Valentin Godina, 14740 Mesa, Victorville, on record. I plead that SB 54 come back onto the agenda for the safety of the public. Thank you.
Thank you. Bill Cotillo?
Are you sure it's okay now? It's okay now? I don't even know what you're talking about. Anyway, you guys are pulling a scam on these people in the city of Victorville by letting them people, we pay taxes on that golf course for years and years. Our taxes and your taxes. Now you're saying the hell with all the taxes we paid, you can't take care of the golf course no more, but you're willing to pay over $2 million to let the people from Apple Valley drive through the city of Victorville to get to the freeway. How is that fair to us? What good does it do us to let them drive through our city? We got enough traffic here already. You guys don't know what the hell you're doing. You shouldn't be up there. This is what I think about all of you.
Good afternoon. Thank you very much. I can only say I'm responsible for my children till they become adults. After they become adults, I don't think anybody is responsible for what an adult does. Saying that, all of this reminds me of my school years when there was always cowards egging other people on to fight. The individuals never knew why they were fighting. They were just always egged on to fight. Those cowards became political agitators. And that's all they are, dividing our community and dividing us. I have spoken with just about every person up here in private, and we've had very good conversations, and I don't think that I've had any misfeelings with anybody here. I think our council needs to re-examine themselves and try to figure out why they have separate issues when they shouldn't. You are our leaders. You were voted in with the trust of the citizens to do the job of our community. Our community has demonstrated that they can come together and build a park at the family center. If our community can do that without our leaders are much better than that in our eyes, and we hope they can find a way to resolve these issues and stop allowing these coward political agitators to come in and disrupt our meetings. Thank you.
That was all the cards that I had. So now we move on to report from our city manager.
Madam Mayor, members of the council, just a couple of items. One particular I want to give attention to is regarding what we see in the field of municipal clerks throughout the state of California. And in the field of serving as municipal city clerks, there's a highly sought after credential, and it carries the acronym of CMC, which stands for California Municipal Clerk. And to get this certification, this designation, there's a fairly rigorous program. It's a program supported by the City Clerks Association of California in conjunction with the University of California, Riverside. 120 hours of time is spent studying all of the facets of what goes into serving the municipal city clerk. And I'm pleased, proud, and I wanted to recognize that our city clerk, Charlene Robinson, has graduated from that program just last week. Certainly advancing our credentials as employees who better serve the public is
not only important to the community, but certainly important to us leading your operations. So thank you, Shirley. Good job.
Congratulations, thank you.
Tomorrow, Wednesday, there is a $5 fill-a-bag with books fundraiser at the Victorville City Library. It's put on by Friends of the Victorville City Library, which is a nonprofit organization. It's going to be an event that has special events promoting video game rentals and so forth. Information, you can contact the city library. Stop the Bleed workshop is another. We have another workshop Wednesday, September 26th, 6:30 to 8 p.m. here at Victorville City Hall, Conference Room B. Our enrollment is open to the entire Victorville, ages 18 and older. Information can be found on our website. That's all I have.
Thank you. Now we move on to B3, discussion and possible action regarding items for the upcoming city council agenda. So I'll start with Ms. Gomez.
So all of these are motions. The first one is discussion and possible action of building a steering committee of community members and stakeholders to engage the community in the importance of the 2020 census count.
Is there a second? There being no second, the motion dies.
The second one is discussion of appropriations of money to increment the efforts to bringing light to the importance of filling out and being engaged in that 2020 census.
Is there a second? There being no second, the motion dies.
Next one is to add to the agenda discussion and possible action to discuss how the city of Victorville is and will prepare for natural disasters and man-made disasters. How will we be prepared the next emergency that the city has, and what are the plans or the MOUs that we have with the county, other cities, and our public safety officers to bring trust and security to our at-large communities?
Is there a second? There being no second, the motion dies.
Next one is discussion of the city manager's use of discretion based on his partisan and open desire to single one council member out from the rest of the council, and the municipal code's power to supersede his personal discretion that is harming the use of public resources in an imprudent manner. And that's my motion to add to the agenda immediately.
Could I hear that one again so I can understand it?
Basically, I'm asking for the city manager for us to evaluate him. There's a lot of concerns that have been brought up that are in paper. That's basically the nutshell of it.
Well, we have an evaluation process. It's a closed session process. We don't put it on the agenda.
You do, we have to ask.
What?
We have to ask to
No,
evaluate the city
it's
manager.
built into his contract.
Or any employee.
What?
Or any employee that we want to discuss. City manager, city attorney.
We don't discuss employees. The only person who deals with us is the city manager, and we evaluate it once a year.
Or not, or ignore it. I've asked for it. If you want, I can repeat myself. But you can either second it or ignore it.
Well, yeah, I'm just trying to understand what you're asking.
Okay, well, that's what I was essentially asking. There's a lot of issues with the city manager, with me trying to represent the city of Victorville and not getting the information required by inquiring from city staff based on municipal code. So I wanted to address those issues.
I thought that's what you asked for. You know, I wouldn't mind having that on the agenda. That's not a city manager evaluation. That's a discussion about your problem dealing with the city of Victorville.
No, that's not what I asked. You can reinterpret, but it's my turn right now. That's not what I'm asking. I'm asking for the evaluation of the city manager. If you want to make a motion and do it about me, you will have your turn. I'm not here to argue with what your opinions are.
I just wanted to
That's not-
understand what you were asking for.
Okay, so that's still on the table.
Is there a second? There being no second, the motion dies.
Then the next one is actions of the city council to be put on for discussion and possible action to rectify any use of public fund that's been imprudently used without disclosure of an agenda to the general public. That's what we did on Friday. We didn't disclose it. We didn't have a meeting. We didn't approve it. But yeah, we're going to do arrears and pay for the behaviors that Mayor Garcia has been doing outside of her duties. That's what I'm asking you to put on the agenda.
Is there a second? There being no second, the motion dies.
Mr. Fuentes, which I requested not only by email, I have phone call from him, I requested publicly as a point of privilege to please read out his concerns, which were not read, were not respected. I'd like to add his concerns for the lack of cleanliness of 6 visible chairs that he had spoken about, so all of you should be familiar at the city staff level. The city of Victorville has a preschool program charging $50 a month for Mondays and Wednesday course. Mr. Fuentes, a fee-paying member of our community and resident, has a young toddler who attends these classes weekly. In my phone conversation with Mr. Fuentes, I found out, and I quote, "No one gets near the chairs and instead leans on the wall or sits on the ground," unquote. My question to the city administration is, who's in charge of the cleanliness of the area, the lobby, the main hub center, street park, including the stained furniture? Is it in the budget to clean these seats? And the resident was told that we don't clean anything unless it's every 6 months and we don't have it in our budget. So as courtesy for this gentleman who had reached out to all council members, with no exception of any one of us, is to add this to the agenda so we can have a discussion and see if these chairs are going to be cleansed, are we gonna reappropriate monies or not? And this is not my concern, like I said, this is this gentleman who reached out to all of us here.
Is there a second? There being no second, the motion dies.
I'd like to place on the agenda a discussion with Brian Gangler about the Braintree extension, since the city manager has denied my email request to sit and meet with the city engineer to inquire about last agenda's meeting.
Is there a second? There being no second, the motion dies.
I would like to sit and have an appointment to discuss with Scott Webb questions about the caper since he canceled the last 2, well, this is he meaning, referring to the city manager, canceled the last 2 meetings in a row, will be denying the 3rd meeting on a Monday, so I will not be meeting with the city manager, and I'd like to have my questions answered to be able to be productive and make decisions based on city resources that are either appropriate or not appropriate, and this is what I would like to add to the agenda.
Is there a second? There being no second, the motion dies.
I'd like the city council to continue its pattern of chastising in public any council member in the body of the city of Victorville that does not represent the actions of the city of Victorville, but their own actions in public. A written declaration to distance ourselves from any actions that have been caused severance and any emotional distress, along with annoyance and power of abuse under the title of mayor. I make the motion to continue with the upkeep of uniformity. No one at this dais is above any constitutional, administrative, common, international, or statutory law.
Is there a second? There being no second, the motion dies.
Friday, the attorney without a vote of the council or the public comment represented the mayor with, this is what I'm gonna add, so hopefully you guys understand it. There was financial resources. I don't want the city taxpayers to go back on Friday and pay for what they did vote. Clearly, the body voted today. We don't have to go back retroactively and do any expenditures, and that's what I'd like to have discussion over the next couple of agendas.
Is there a second? There being no second, the motion dies.
That was all.
I have a question. Mr. Fuentes has notified all individuals. I noticed when I came in today, I think I have somewhere around 100 emails that I haven't been able to answer or look at, but I don't recall receiving anything from him.
There was an email, and there's also a response from staff.
There was a response from staff to him, so
Yes.
it's been answered.
Yes.
When staff responds to individuals and the email is directed to council, could we have a copy, could I have a copy of that?
I'll give all council a copy.
Then we move on to reports from council members to review and limit.
I do. I attended the League of California Cities annual convention in Long Beach, and one of the items that, one of the discussions that I attended was the cannabis study. We heard from cannabis people at the state, and it is far from settled. The rules are far from settled. They're changing them weekly. They are being amended consistently. Bills are put in. They're being, I forgot to call it, but I'm not getting off the desk and I'm getting off the committee. And so most cities that are dealing with the issue are simply taking the stance that we have to wait and see what the state is going to do because it's in flux. One city reported that it had put $9 million into the bank in cash. It was reported that that was a legal activity, and the answer was banks are happy to have cash and they're happy to give it to them in a suitcase. That was a little different. I don't know how they intend to settle it, but there's all kinds of items that are not settled. And kind of the promise that came out of that was that the state has now recognized that this is not going to produce the funds that they thought it was going to produce. Part of their effort, they hope, would be to get rid of the illicit and underground activities, which is not working because of the amount of taxes that they're putting on the legal sales, which is having little effect on the underground activities. And the legislature is at least looking at, appear to be looking at, a law that says allow it and take control away from the city. But as of right now, it's still a raging controversy. It has not been resolved. The last thing I want to add is I answer a lot of emails, and I hear criticism that we're not responding. As I said, I go on 3 days for a meeting, and I come back and I have 100 emails. But I'll answer them. And I think that everyone deserves to have an answer because we have statements that are made here, such as we need to change the form of government. In 2016, when Ms. Gomez was elected, one item that the city council had on the election was to change the charter to allow elections by district.
You have 30 seconds.
And the voters in the city turned it down. This council must abide by what the voters said, and they said, no, we want to continue as a charter city with election at large, and we cannot arbitrarily change that. I want people to understand that. The other thing is, I teach public administration, I taught public administration. I've never heard of the city electing a city manager, ever. So please call me, 760-954-7677. I'd be more than happy to talk about the forms of government. Because a lot of what is being said is just simply uninformed.
Yeah, I want to say one thing. I think I heard tonight the most racist comment I have ever heard in the 8 years I've been on this council. The remark that we are now 54% Hispanic. We're taking over. I'm a product of the 60s, the whole civil rights movement in the 50s and 60s I grew up with. I opposed racism all my life. I'm offended by it in any form. I don't care what form it comes like. But that comment presumes that every person of Hispanic origin thinks the same way and has the same values, the same political views. That's as ignorant and foolish a statement as if I were to sit here and say every white person thinks the same, or every black person thinks the same. Here's two white people who might as well be on different planets. Okay? I'm really deeply troubled by anybody who would come before this council and make the kind of statements you made. I'm deeply offended by that. You are, and with help from Ms. Gomez, you're attempting to create a racial divide in this city. You're attempting to turn people against one another based on their race. Shame on you. I want no part of that. You ought to be ashamed of yourself for spewing that kind of poison.
That's her opinion. That's her opinion.
And I bet it's my opinion. It is my opinion. I'm done. Have you done? Eric, are you good? I'm sorry.
No, I still have my 3 minutes. Mr. Kennedy,
I'm going home.
antagonizing the public as a council member, shame on you. I attended the Naleo Education Club at the National Policy Institute on Emergency Preparedness and Resource Management. It's a 2-day convening allowed me and other Latino policymakers to enhance their knowledge and understanding of disaster planning and preparedness. I joined the National Association of Latino Elected and Appointed Officials Educational Fund in Miami for the National Policy Institute on Emergency Preparedness in response management from September 14th to September 15th this year. The convening provided me and more than 50 Latino community and municipal officials, higher education trustees, and school board members from across the country with the opportunity to enhance our knowledge and understanding of the different levels of planning and preparedness needed to help our communities prepare for, protect against, mitigate, respond to, and recover for various types of disasters and emergencies. Understanding how national politics plays into the role of local elected officials is essential to serving a population of constituents in an equals-focused view, a proactive approach, and a retrospect from hindsight to work for a better future. I said this part. Convening to meet with the urgent needs like shelter, water, safety, food, and critical services is an immediate concern of all responders. During the Institute, I and other Latino policy makers were brought together with leading experts from the public, private, and nonprofit sectors of 2 days of professional development that combined classroom and experiential learning. Topics that we addressed at the convening included the 2017 disasters, the impact on communities and lessons learned, mass evacuation, how a well-coordinated plan saves lives, emergency planning and preparedness for healthcare facilities, the aftermath, recovery, resiliency, and rebuilding, hazard mitigation planning, a look at land use planning and best practices for improving emergency plans and preparedness. You can view the full agenda for more information on the convening, which is available at the Naleo Education Fund website at naleo.org/2018. I, on many occasions today, try to put on the agenda the importance of being capacity building and mitigating any human disaster or any disaster that would come that's naturally in its base. Clearly, we saw today that no one seconded on many occasional issues that are so important to our nation. I'm not talking about just the city of Victorville. I was with over 50, we were with people from Puerto Rico, people from Miami, people from Louisiana, you name it. We were coming together as elected officials to learn what it is to do preparedness for a time.
Time's up.
I just want to thank everyone that believes that I'm doing a good job here. And I'm doing it because I care about Victorville and I care about the people. All people. I'm not dividing anybody, and you know that. Thank you very much.